The Rusty Russian Gun, A Tale of Anger and Tragedy. Ebuka was a proud and fearless hunter, known in his village for his towering strength and fiery temper. More than anything, he valued his reputation as a man of action, one who brooked no insult. The village of Umuagha often spoke in hushed tones about his moods, for when anger overtook him, storms seemed tame in comparison. One fateful evening, the sun hung low on the horizon as Ebuka prepared to venture out for a hunt. His stomach growled with hunger, a dull reminder of his need for food before a long night in the forest. He called out to his wife, Nkem, asking her to fetch his flintlock rifle, a rusty old firearm he had proudly acquired years earlier. Nkem, who rarely missed a chance to tease him good-naturedly, burst into laughter as she turned to retrieve the weapon. "That rusty thing," she joked, whispering under her breath but loud enough for him to hear, "it hasn't even killed a rabbit since you bought it, let alone a bushbuck or buffalo." Ebuka froze. Her words struck him like a scorpion's sting, hot and piercing. His pride burned. That gun was more than a tool to him, it was a symbol of his prowess, an heirloom from a craftsman who once lived in the very soil of Umuagha. The gun, forged by a wandering Russian blacksmith who had settled briefly in the village, was meant to serve as proof of Ebuka's undeniable might. The insult festered in his heart like poison. Without a word, he stormed into the darkened room where the gun stood against the clay wall. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for it, the weight of it familiar yet strange. Unbeknownst to Nkem, the gun was loaded, a detail Ebuka had often neglected but remembered in that enraged instant. As he emerged, Nkem's laughter trailed off. There was something in her husband's eyes she rarely saw, a dangerous mix of humiliation and fury. She took a cautious step back, sensing the brewing storm. "You think me a joke?" Ebuka's voice was low but thunderous. His grip tightened on the firearm. "A man of my strength, mocked in his own home. I will show you what this gun can do." Fear gripped Nkem as she bolted, her wrapper trailing behind her as she dashed toward the plantain grove that shaded their compound. Heart pounding in her chest, she dared not look back. Ebuka raised the gun. Anger clouded his judgment, drowning out everything, the laughter, her retreating figure, even the rustling of the wind through the plantains. His finger found the trigger almost instinctively. The gun roared, shattering the evening's serenity. A flock of birds scattered into the sky, their cries drowned by the echo of the shot. Nkem fell, her body crumpling beneath the sprawling leaves of a giant plantain tree. The bright red of her blood mingled with the dark, loamy soil. Reality descended on Ebuka like a sudden downpour. The firearm clattered to the ground as he stumbled toward where she lay. Her chest was still, her eyes wide, staring blankly into the descending twilight. He sank to his knees, the enormity of his action crushing him. The village soon gathered, drawn by the commotion and the single, deafening shot. Elders whispered among themselves, children clutched their mothers, and lamentation pierced the evening air. Ebuka, once a hunter revered for his strength, now knelt in the dust, a broken man. No longer a symbol of pride, the rusty Russian gun became tied to a story forever etched in the memory of Umuagha, a tale of anger and its steep, irreparable cost. The air thickened with sorrow as murmurs of blame filled the space. Ebuka felt the weight of judgment settle heavily on his shoulders. He had sought strength but found only devastation. Friends turned to strangers, and the once familiar landscape of his life now felt alien, haunted by the ghost of Nkem. The villagers recounted tales of Nkem, her laughter that once filled the air, now silenced forever by one moment of rage. Ebuka's heart ached, torn between grief and remorse. He looked up, meeting the eyes of those he had wronged, and the realization struck him, there was no escaping his fate. The whispers amplified, accusations hanging heavy in the air. Ebuka struggled to meet their gaze, feeling the burning shame etched in their eyes. Each moment was a reminder of his failure, a once proud warrior now reduced to a shadow of regret. In their silence, he heard the cries of Nkem. He turned away, clenching his fist as tears threatened to spill. In the depths of his anguish, he recalled her gentle smile, a stark contrast to the rage that had shattered their lives. Each day would be a struggle, but perhaps penance could bring him the solace he desperately sought. He began his journey towards redemption, seeking the counsel of elders and wisdom in tradition. Each step echoed with Nkem's memory, driving him to confront the demons within. Forgiveness would not come easy, but with time, perhaps the weight of his past could be lifted, allowing hope to bloom anew. He visited the sacred grove, it silenced a bomb to his turbulent soul. The elders gathered, their wisdom a beacon amid darkness. They spoke of atonement not merely through actions, but through a transformation of heart. Ebuka listened intently, hope flickering dimly within him. He embraced their teachings, allowing the roots of tradition to intertwine with his spirit. Each prayer offered was a step closer to healing. The rusty gun, once a symbol of his rage, now lay forgotten, overshadowed by the burgeoning light of forgiveness that began to fill his heart. As the days passed, Ebuka found himself drawn back to the gun, its rust no longer a reminder of sorrow but rather a metaphor for his own regeneration. He decided to forge a new path, one built on the memories of Nkem, embracing love and understanding over anger. As he ventured into the village, the sun cast golden rays, illuminating his path. Each step felt lighter, each breath a cradle of hope. The community welcomed him with open arms, their smiles a tapestry of forgiveness. Ebuka understood then that true strength lay in vulnerability and love. His heart swelled with gratitude as he connected with his neighbors, sharing laughter and stories anew. The village, once a place of division, transformed into a cradle of unity. Ebuka realized that healing was not just personal, it was a communal journey, and he was ready to lead with love. Together, they began to rebuild their lives, planting seeds of unity in every corner of their village. Ebuka's rusty gun now served as a symbol of their resilience, reminding them that even in darkness, light can emerge through compassion and understanding. The future glimmered bright ahead. As the community gathered for a planting festival, Ebuka felt a surge of joy. Laughter echoed through the fields, and old wounds began to heal under the warmth of their shared experiences. The rusty gun, now a relic of the past, stood as a testament to their collective hope. With each seed they planted, the scars of the past began to fade. Ebuka envisioned a brighter future, where their children would grow up knowing only love and camaraderie. The echo of laughter filled the air, signaling not just survival, but a flourishing community reborn from the ashes of tragedy. As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, the villagers danced around a grand bonfire. Each step resonated with hope, a promise that the past would not define them. The rusty gun, tucked away, remained a mere whisper of what once was. As night fell, the stars twinkled above, mirroring the joy below. Families gathered, sharing stories of resilience, laughter mingling with the cool night air. In this newfound unity, Ebuka felt a sense of peace. The rusty gun had transformed from a symbol of sorrow to a reminder that hope endures. As the celebration continued, Ebuka caught glimpses of the future unfolding in the laughter of children, their innocence untouched by past horrors. This night, under the vast sky, felt like a rebirth, echoing a silent vow that together, they would forge a path of peace and understanding. As the embers glowed softly, Ebuka realized that healing was not just an individual journey, but a collective one. The hearty cheers of the villagers intertwined with the crackling fire, creating a symphony of hope that echoed deep within their hearts. This was their moment, a defining chapter of resilience. Ebuka knew that this unity would be tested, but tonight, hope shone brighter than ever. As laughter echoed, he silently vowed to protect this fragile peace, nurturing the bonds forged in adversity. Together they would face whatever came, united by their past but driven by dreams of a better tomorrow. Yet, lurking in the shadows, memories of strife clung to the air. The rusty Russian gun, a relic of their darkest days, stood as a stark reminder that peace was a fragile gift. Would it withstand the storms that threatened their newfound harmony? Only time would unravel the truth. As Ebuka gazed at the gun, a shiver ran down his spine. It embodied their history of conflict and the potential for future violence. He wondered if the villagers could truly abandon the bitterness of their past or if the echoes of anger would resurface, threatening their fragile peace. As the evening wore on, Ebuka's resolve wavered. The laughter faded into the background, overshadowed by the weight of uncertainty. He glanced around, seeking reassurance in the faces of his friends, but even their smiles felt tentative. What lay ahead could either with each passing day, the gun loomed larger in his thoughts. The villagers' laughter often masked the tension beneath, whispers of unhealed wounds occasionally broke the surface. Could they build a future while haunted by the specter of violence? Ebuka knew they had to confront their fears head-on. Standing alone against the gathering shadows, he made a silent vow. They would not allow history to dictate their future. Instead, they would craft a new narrative together, one rooted in understanding, resilience, and hope. Yet, the gun remained a reminder of how fragile their unity truly was. Ebuka took a deep breath, determined to initiate the conversation that had been hanging in the air. "We need to share our stories," he said, voice steady yet vulnerable. "It's time to understand our pain, to transform anger into dialogue. Only then can we begin to heal and rebuild." A murmur of agreement rippled through the gathering. Faces once hardened by grief began to soften, as memories poured forth. Each story, a brushstroke painting a collective portrait of their shared past. Together, they would weave their individual threads into a tapestry of resilience, binding them tighter than the rusted relic that had once divided them. As voices intertwined, the gun lay forgotten, a relic of past rage. Years later, the village thrived, its story inspiring others beyond its borders, a beacon of hope showing that even the rustiest wounds could heal with compassion and time. And so, the legacy of the rusty gun lived on, not in violence, but as a symbol of hope, reminding all who heard its story that healing is possible, and peace, once embraced, can flourish forever. As years passed, the story of the rusty gun reminded everyone that healing is a journey, one paved not by violence, but by the patience and kindness we offer each other every day. The village's story spread beyond its borders, inspiring neighboring communities to seek similar paths of healing and understanding, proving that even the smallest acts of compassion could ignite widespread change. And so, the rusty Russian gun remained a silent witness, not to conflict, but to the enduring power of forgiveness and the unyielding strength of a united community. The villagers often gathered around the gun, sharing stories of resilience and pledging to protect their newfound peace, honoring the past while embracing a hopeful tomorrow. Children played near the monument, their laughter a vivid contrast to the gun's somber history, symbolizing a future shaped by peace rather than fear. Over time, the rusty gun transformed from a symbol of sorrow into a beacon of hope, reminding all that even the deepest wounds can heal through empathy and unity. As seasons changed, the village thrived, its story a testament that from the darkest past could bloom the brightest future. The iron relic became a cherished part of village life, a reminder that peace required nurturing, and that even the heaviest burdens could be lifted through compassion and shared humanity. In this way, the rusty Russian gun stood not as a relic of anger, but as a timeless emblem of hope, its legacy forever etched into the heart of the village, inspiring generations to choose peace over conflict. As dusk settled, the gun's silhouette against the fading light reminded all, while history shapes us, it does not define our destiny. The once feared weapon now stood silent, teaching that true strength lay not in violence, but in healing and understanding. Its story lived on, a quiet call to future generations to build bridges, not walls, amid the remnants of a turbulent past. Community gatherings often centered around the gun, transforming it from a symbol of destruction into one of unity, reminding all that even the darkest tools can foster light when wielded with care. Stories of kindness and resilience blossomed around the rusty Russian gun, proving that from the ashes of anger, new beginnings could emerge, lighting the way toward a more hopeful tomorrow. The village, once haunted by echoes of strife, now thrived on shared stories and collective healing, proving that even the rustiest scars can foster new growth and peace. The rusty Russian gun became a lasting emblem of transformation, a testament that even the darkest history can inspire hope, reconciliation, and a future defined by compassion rather than conflict. As seasons changed, the gun's story reminded all that peace is a continuous journey, carried forward by courage, empathy, and the unwavering will to heal. In this spirit, new generations learn to honor the past while choosing pathways of peace, understanding that true strength lies not in weapons, but in the bonds that hold a community together. The rusty Russian gun, now silent, spoke volumes of hope and renewal.
Thank you for watching today's episode.